Hello, everybody, and welcome back to a brand new bonus episode of Kaiju Conversation. I'm your host, Elijah, and joining me, as always, my co-host and editor, Rex.
Hello once again on this unique evening, another bonus episode.
And, we've only done five other ones. This is the sixth one we've ever done.
Yeah, but we're also coming off October, so...
This is true. In October, there was no slowdown. It was just the grind.
It's about grind. It's about power. We stay hungry. We devour.
It is about grind. It's about power. I said that somewhere. Oh, I think I was at work. I was trying to convince one of my coworkers to do their job. So I was like, it's about grind. It's about power. We stay hungry. We devour. And they looked at me like I should have been fired on the spot.
Honestly, you should have.
It is about the grind. Speaking of the grind, Toho has grinded a lot.
So they have been, for once.
Yes. So this bonus episode is going to be a recap of the lovely Godzilla Day. Godzilla Day takes place November 3rd every year. It's what Toho puts on in celebration of the first film's domestic release. Not the first time it was shown in theaters, because the first time was, I believe, October 27th, 1954 for the premiere in Tokyo. But it got its domestic release November 3rd of 1954. And every year since 2019, they have put on a celebration, Godzilla Fes, not Fest, not G-Fest. It's Godzilla Fest.
Or Godzilla Festival.
Yes, Godzilla Festival. And I think it's a good idea we start this year with recapping it, because there was a lot to break down here.
Had a few announcements and a couple short film releases and stuff like that, which was pretty cool.
Yeah. So I think I personally would like to see if we could start with the action figure stuff, because I think that's the least exciting part of what they've announced.
Sure.
Rex, I didn't come too prepared. Did you come prepared for kind of what all was announced?
Well, I watched almost the entirety. I watched pretty much most of the actual 8-hour stream. Like the main one. I didn't watch the whole merchandise stream that was going on simultaneously from about halfway through, but I did peer into that every now and again, when nothing was really happening on the main one. So I did see a fair few of the merchandise announcements. So probably the most noteworthy announcement, the one that people found before the festival had officially started, was the SH Monster Arts Gigan.
Yes.
Celebrating his 50th anniversary, and also the new short films that we'll get into later. The SH Monster Arts Gigan was on display at the festival area, and, pictures came out online before the fest started.
And it actually, I saw the pictures of this, and it looks really, really good.
It does. It's a very nice prototype.
I saw somebody saying they hope it's not as tiny as Mechagodzilla 74 was. But the detail on it looked really good. I couldn't honestly tell where the joints were entirely.
Yeah, I know. The only ones that I can really discern is the elbows and the knee joints. That's really about it for me.
Yeah, I'm really excited, honestly. I think this figure looks great. I'm happy SHMA is doing more SHMAs from the show.
I'm happy they're doing more Showa.
Yeah. It looks really good.
Because they've mostly just focused on Heisei in the past, and they're starting to give some spotlight to Showa and to more Showa and Millennium characters, which is nice.
Yeah, exactly. No, exactly. You're right. because they did Hedorah last year for Hedorah's anniversary.
Yeah.
And if they're doing Gigan, I'm sure next year they're going to do a Jet Jaguar and a Megalon.
Oh, almost definitely. I mean, speaking of which, during the event, they showcased the 50th anniversary logos for both Megalon and Jet Jaguar, so we're definitely going to be getting some new merchandise for them.
And I'm really happy
for the fact of having that logo.
Yeah, and I'm happy that they're starting to showcase specifically the 70s. You know, I think the 70s is like probably the second least well discussed or regarded era or decade of the Godzilla franchise. And the fact that they started with Hedorah, did Gigan, and now doing Megalon and Jet Jaguar, I'm like, this is kind of fun. I'm happy that they're really working on the 70s films, because I'm sure they'll do one for King Caesar and Mechagodzilla and then Titanosaurus.
Oh, almost definitely. Almost definitely.
The day we have a Titanosaurus SHMA is the day I can die happy.
Speaking of underrepresented kaiju in merchandise, Varan.
Yeah, the Varan Bandai got released.
Yeah, and not only that, there was actually a fair bit of new Varan merch announced.
Really?
There was like shirts, I believe a notebook with like different sort of artwork of like the 58 Varan, the 68 Varan, as well as Varan versus GMK Goji.
Ooh, I love that.
Yeah.
That's a deep cut.
Yeah, and like there was this, I want to say it's like, I don't know what exactly it is. It's like some sort of food in a container. I think that's what it was. The box or the container kind of looked like a small sort of pre-workout thing. It's probably not pre-workout, but like kind of looks like that. Yeah, no, it's just awesome to see more Varan representation given. I mean, he was pretty absent from merch up until like a few months ago when the movie Monster series was announced.
Even though it doesn't look the greatest, I'm happy that it's getting released. I've been really happy with the movie Monster Bandai series the last few times. Like they did Daimajin, they've done Varan. Batra.
They've got a fair few coming out now as well. These haven't been like officially announced, but like it's likely that the source of these got like the toy listings early from like a Japanese company or something. Probably, maybe directly Bandai. I don't know. So we're probably getting a Baragon, a Super Mechagodzilla, Ibara, and a fair few other movie Monster series figures of kind of underrepresented characters, which is pretty cool to see. Some more Godzilla MMS figures as well, even.
I wonder if partly why they're doing this is they realize that they can't just keep reusing Rodan, Mothra, King Ghidorah, Mechagodzilla, and Godzilla, that they need to like up everything else, because if they don't, they're kind of the IP value decreases. So maybe
I mean, interestingly enough, the movie Monster series has been expanding its reach as well. Like you've got Shin Ultraman figures. Like I believe they just announced like a Mephiles and a couple other variants of Ultraman, and they've got, for Kamen Rider Black Sun, they've got the movie Monster series Black Sun and Shadow Moon.
Oh, really?
That just came out. Yeah.
Huh. Bandai's really starting to market that line a lot more and like reach out with licenses.
Ava Unit 1 and 2 as well.
Oh,
can't forget them. Yeah.
I wonder if it's kind of in line with the whole Shin Heroes kind of ideology.
Oh, probably. I mean, Black Sun and Shadow Moon aren't part of that, but still Kamen Rider.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe
there's also the Netflix Ultraman are in the Movie Monster series line as well.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Going back a little bit, I know they did an announcement for the GVG Rex figures, specifically Godzilla and the Mother Gigan?
Yeah, Gigan Rex.
Yeah, Gigan Rex, which look pretty cool. I really like the gemstone Godzilla design.
Yeah, it's cool. It's not really my thing, but it's cool.
It's really wrinkly.
Yeah, that's probably the thing I'm not a big fan of with it. It's just a little too much for me, you know. I prefer that as like I prefer that being a bit more subtle, you know.
And then they also did, wasn't it a 84 reissue?
Yeah, a new Movie Monster Series 84, which is a G-Store exclusive.
Isn't it the same sculpt from the Memorial box set? Just
yeah, new paint.
Yeah,
I mean, a lot of the Movie Monster series are reused sculpts.
Yeah,
like the upcoming like King Ghidorah 91 will probably be a reuse. Maybe not, but probably.
I mean, the Mecha King Ghidorah was.
Yeah, exactly.
So. And then there was a Hedorah that was partially white, which I didn't know.
Yeah, I forgot what that was for. It was like I want to say it was a cookie theme. I want to say it was a cookie themed one. They said what it was on the stream. I'm 80% sure it was like a food based variant. I just can't remember.
That sounds really weird because like Hedorah's like toxic fumes.
Yeah, I don't know. They've been announcing like a bunch of different like they've been getting their mileage out of that.
Bandai. What do you?
Yeah, I know. But like Hedorah gets tons of variants whenever there's a new Hedorah figure. Like during the merch stream, they were showing off a bunch of like I think it was Bullmark, like new variants of Bullmark like being made for Hedorah.
Interesting. I know. Didn't they do like a gold variant at one point?
Yeah, they were showing that off during the stream as well.
Interesting. Moving on, there's a Godzilla figure too, but I could give less than I don't.
Yeah, I saw that. I don't really remember what that exactly was, but they spent a fair bit of time on it.
Serious?
I mean, they spent a fair bit of time on all of the merch, like X Plus Kong and all that.
Gotcha. Isn't there a new 62 X Plus 2? Or
I'm not sure, to be honest. They did have like the gigantic series 62 on the stream.
Gotcha.
Like they were showing it off next to the Kong 2021, but I don't know if that's actually like being reissued or like it's a new paint job or something, or if it's just there for scale.
Gotcha. And is that Yuji Sakai, like that sculpt they made for Huge Deal? Is that an X Plus or is that something different?
Which one?
It's like the Millennium Godzilla. That's like what is that?
Yeah, that'd probably be a Yuji Sakai, I'd imagine.
It is a Yuji Sakai. I know it's based off the 2000 concept
design.
Yeah, is that an X Plus? I've been trying to figure out. I can't.
I'm pretty sure they showed it after, like they showed it like around the time of the X Pluses, and I think they showed it next to an X Plus, like of like the Yuji Sakai 2000 design, but like with the actual purple spikes. But I don't know for sure.
Gotcha.
To be honest.
Okay. So. That was all what you mentioned. Was all I was aware of for your different merchandise announcements. Did you have anything else, or do you recall anything else?
There were a couple other things, like there was the Funko Burning Godzilla.
That's right, the FYE exclusive.
That
was announced.
Godzilla Rivals comic had they revealed new covers for like the Rodan vs. Ibra issue, It features
Oh,
Mechagodzilla 2 on it.
wasn't that already revealed? I'm pretty sure that was.
Like they announced it, but these were new covers.
Oh,
There were like
okay.
2 new covers for
Okay.
it.
Mondo released their SOS that they've been hinting at and revealed the
Oh
box.
yeah, and then
Mondo released.
Mondo, or was it Mondo? Yeah, it was Mondo who also announced new vinyls for Singular Point and Mothra 92.
So Mondo did Mothra 92. Waxworks did Singular Point.
Oh,
You have
my
two.
mistake.
You have two companies. The way I understand it, Mondo is doing your Heisei and your non-Godzilla kaiju films. Waxworks has done Showa and Singular Point and the
Did they do
legendary
GVK
films.
as well?
Yes.
Yeah. Honestly, I didn't even realize that that there was a difference between Mondo and Waxwork doing it. I just never occurred to me until you said that.
Essentially, Waxworks is solely an LP company, whereas Mondo also does like posters, T-shirts, pins, action
I
figures.
think they announced some new posters as well for like. I want to say it was Mechagodzilla, but I could be wrong. It was probably Gigan, to be honest. But I don't remember, to be honest. I don't remember enough.
Gotcha.
I just know they showed new posters or something.
Didn't Super 7 also announce the next line? I just remember that it was like 54 American version.
Yeah, they showed 62. I think, I'm pretty sure it was like the American poster of 54, Ghidorah, and like 3 others. I don't really remember too well. I looked at it for like a second.
Gotcha.
And that was about it.
I'm currently going back and looking here. Cavity Colors released another Shin Godzilla line of T-shirts.
Yeah, I saw that Kamada-kun one with like the caption on it or whatever.
Mm-hmm. So Mondo did the Tokyo SOS statue. They also revealed a new Mechagodzilla 74 poster, Mechagodzilla 93 poster, 2 of those. Let's see here. What else do I got? There was a Godzilla guitar that Shout Factory announced. That's just a like giveaway.
Wait, what?
Yeah, it's just like a single giveaway. It's got some like public domain stills of Godzilla in green. Spiral Studios released a new image of their Mothra 2019
that's right, yeah.
statue. Ghost X Ghost released some new T-shirts. Super 7 also released 2 new T-shirts with Mechagodzilla and Hedorah. So Crunchyroll also did some new T-shirts. A lot of T-shirts, like a lot of small.
I didn't realize Crunchyroll did new T-shirts.
Yeah, it was kind of a small thing. FYE also announced a Godzilla light, like a night light. Essentially, it's a burning Godzilla with fire around it that lights up.
Huh.
Nothing too exciting. The Super 7 wave was Godzilla 62, 84, Hedorah, Gigan, half transformed Mechagodzilla, King Ghidorah, and then I also saw an American poster 54.
Yeah, I did see the American poster 54. I think that's a Target exclusive.
It is a Target exclusive.
Yeah.
And those are all of the details of the merchandise that I've got right here. There was also
there are a couple other things, but we don't really need to be a broken record.
Right. I mean, it's just a few like things here and there. So I mean,
mostly knickknacks.
Right. They a lot of stuff was announced, which is pretty typical for a Godzilla Day.
Yeah, it's usually just merch days merch day, honestly.
Yeah, the last 2 was really merch heavy. The only thing that the last one had that was special was the Godzilla vs. Hedorah short film. Besides that,
the previous one did also have a short film, but it was probably the least impressive.
Yeah, it was like, wasn't it like 30 seconds long and it was just Godzilla?
No, it's 2 minutes. It's 2 minutes.
I barely remember it. I know it's just Godzilla destroying.
Yeah, it's Godzilla walking around for a minute and then Shinsuke Kasai comes out of the suit at the very end.
Gotcha. So to me, it was like, it's nothing too exciting. It's Toho blowing probably about $500. Yeah, $500 maybe on a short film, the last two at least. Whereas this one, they had that, but they also had a few other things. Do you want to start with the video game announcement?
Yep, that was what I was going to transition to.
Okay.
So let's start with the less exciting one first. Godzilla Battle Line got an update featuring Evangelion.
Correct.
Which also included a Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla inspired poster, except with the Heisei and Godzilla and Eva Unit 1 from the rebuilds.
Yeah, it's based off of the 74 poster, correct?
Yeah. And that's pretty cool.
And we were talking about this the other night, so that means Evangelion, Ultraman, Kong, and Godzilla are all in the same game with Kamen Rider planned, right?
Yep. Kamen Rider is almost definitely coming whenever Shin Ultraman. Shin Kamen Rider comes out.
So it's essentially City Shrouded in Shadow, but this time they actually interact. All we're missing now is game.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy.
And
who would have thought you'd get a crossover where the characters can actually interact with each other?
Right. And, just pointing this out, Katakawa, all they've really done with Gamera is put him in mobile games. So maybe we could get Gamera in Godzilla Battle Line as well. And it would be...
Assuming Toho's interested.
Correct. And it would be officially the perfect Godzilla game, because it has everything you've ever wanted.
Minus the fact that it's a mobile game.
Minus the fact it's a mobile game, but we'll never get a console Godzilla game.
Yeah, we gotta make do with what we can get, I suppose.
Yeah, we'll just get DLCs.
Speaking of which,
Gigabash. Okay. So I don't know. Has the video game bonus short gone up yet?
What do you mean? Like
that the YouTube exclusive where we talk about it for like 15-20 minutes?
Oh, no, it has not yet.
Okay.
I'm still editing it.
So if you want to hear us talk about it before it was announced, look at our YouTube channel. We had a little discussion that we recorded. It's not very long. It's just like a mini-sode where we talk about video games and Godzilla. I'll say this, I'm very nihilistic about the whole thing. And this proved my point. Because I got into a few arguments with people because I was like, it's gonna be a DLC. It's gonna be just like basic. It's gonna be like the Call of Duty stuff. It's gonna be like Fall Guys. It's gonna be a DLC, and once it's out, it's out.
Mm-hmm. I mean, this is a little bit better than say Call of Duty because you can actually play as Godzilla rather than just he exists on the map and you shoot at him and for a while until you get like a kill streak or whatever where you can get him to shoot his atomic breath in like a spot.
Right. I mean, so Gigabash announced Godzilla's in the game, and we got the reveal it's Heisei.
Yeah.
I'm happy it's Heisei. I like Heisei.
Same.
I miss the time when Heisei was like the face of the franchise. Now it's kind of like Shin. Shin and Legendary.
It's either Shin or Legendary, which I can live with Shin being a face. I don't like him as the face, but I can live with him being as a face.
Mm-hmm.
Legendary, I'm kind of sick of seeing that design.
Yeah, plus, to me, when you're talking about Godzilla, you don't want the face of your franchise to be something not truly, like, what the franchise is, which I think both Legendary and Shin aren't, because Legendary is Legendary Pictures. It's an American Godzilla. It's not the Japanese one, and Shin Godzilla is made to be very different, not your traditional Godzilla, which I feel like Heisei embodies the perfect, like...
Oh, definitely. Heisei is the perfect sort of middle ground.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, it's just in general like the most iconic of the classic Godzilla designs,
I agree, because, sometimes he looks a little cute depending on how well you do his wrinkles. And then sometimes he looks like a complete and total...
monster.
Yeah. That we'll say that. We got to keep it G.
Yeah.
G for Godzilla. And I mean, Heisei is the only Godzilla to get the official Motion Picture Association of America rating of traditional Godzilla violence.
But I think it's also good because, like, Giga Bash is a very Tokusatsu inspired game. I don't think it would sit right with me to see Legendary or Shin in a game like Giga Bash, which is clearly, a lot of its designs clearly take inspiration from particularly Ultraman Kaiju. Like, some of them derive straight from, like, Gyango, Bolton, etc., etc.
Yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong, but they haven't announced it, but there's like one or two other kaiju coming in, right?
Yeah. Gamaru's teased Mothra.
I've also heard 98.
I heard something about 98, which is unexpected. I'm not necessarily against it, but, like, it's an odd choice. It's an odd choice. I've talked about this with a couple people, but I think Gigan should be top priority to get into that game.
Yeah. Why is that?
Because he just fits perfectly in with the art style. Does any sort of 70s Gigan design fits perfectly amongst the roster, I'd say.
Interesting. Yeah, see, okay. So
plus he has a good set of abilities too.
So I definitely recommend people go to listen to that mini-sode when that goes live, because that was before the announcement. That was us kind of just speculating. So you'll understand what I'm about to might take a little bit better. But I'm just gonna not beat around the bush. Good for Gigabash. I'm excited. I'm happy that they got the Dream license they've been wanting. It's a huge step forward, I think, in Godzilla gaming. But at the end of the day, it's also to me, as a non-gamer, as somebody who I'm not going to sit here and say I'm an expert or I'm the definitive Godzilla gamer, because I'm not. I've played Destroy All Monsters Melee, Unleashed, Save the Earth. I've watched Godzilla PS4. I've played Monster of Monsters. I've played Super Godzilla.
I'm sorry for you.
And I own all the Game Boy games. And I think I own the DS game. So, like, that's me. I own the games. I've played half of the American Godzilla games. So I'm by no means an expert. But to me, I've also played some of the mobile games. To me, what this is I see it as exactly the same thing as Fall Guys, Call of Duty, PUBG. Has there been any other Godzilla crossovers? Call of Duty, PUBG, Fall Guys. I want to say there was like one other.
There might have been, but it's not on the top of my head.
It was irrelevant.
Yeah.
My point being, it's a DLC. It will be a thing that's temporary, And then when it's gone, if you got the DLCs, you can keep using them. If you didn't, you're out of luck.
Hmm.
And I'm just kind of like, okay, cool. Good for you guys. I hope you guys love what you do. I hope it does great for your game. But sitting here, I can't get excited because it's not Toho announcing what we actually want. It's like, don't look behind the curtain. It's not a Godzilla console game. Even though Giga Bash was released for consoles, it's not a Godzilla console game. Godzilla's a DLC that will be temporary, and when the DLC's over, it's over. And that's that. It's not
Mind you,
Godzilla.
assuming they don't write the contract in a way where like it'll still be purchasable for like a fair long until the game basically like leaves the store entirely, you know.
Sure, but I don't see that happening because I think that
it depends. It really depends.
I feel like that license would have been too expensive for a
probably, but like it really depends.
Sure, sure. Also the fact that they announced it and then like it's coming out December 9th, right? That's when the DLC goes live.
Yeah.
I can't help but think it's not a lot. It's just those they'll probably I think they're just going to reuse a lot of assets in new skins.
I mean, from what I understand, it sounds like it's just going to be character DLC. So like they'll probably sell like because there was a tweet I saw from someone
working on it
worked on Giga Bash who was suggesting like, hey, who did a poll like, hey, what prices should we do for like character DLCs?
Mm-hmm.
And they were like $1.99, $2.99, et cetera, you know?
So the fact it's that tells me that it's not... I don't see this as a win. I don't see this as something big. I see this as, it's another one of these situations. It'll go on for about 3 months, and then it'll be over.
I think 3 months is a very short time, given this is a little bit different to Call of Duty, and I'd probably give it at absolute least like a year or two, but even then it could end up being longer.
I don't think it will be that long, because if a company like Microsoft with Call of Duty could only afford
but that was a limited event, you know. That was a limited event.
Fair.
That wasn't a full-on DLC. That was not a paid DLC. That was a limited event.
I guess
Fall Guys, it's a skin, and so like with skins like that, with every license in like Fortnite and it's like they'll appear in the store one time, they'll appear again some months later, they might appear again some other months later, you know.
So isn't that what it sounds like Giga Bash is doing? Am I wrong?
No, Giga Bash is actually playable like characters that you can play in like presumably in the multiplayer and almost definitely in the multiplayer and presumably the single player modes.
So like Mortal Kombat?
Kinda, yeah. Yeah, pretty much like Mortal Kombat guest characters, yeah.
Okay.
Bit of a bigger game, but even though like Mortal Kombat 11 is sort of nearing the end of its lifespan, and I think MK12 is already in development. I could be wrong. You know, when it go back to MK10, you can still buy like the Alien, Predator, and Jason Voorhees DLCs. You know.
Okay.
And that game's been out since like 2015, I think. So like, I don't think Giga Bash's DLC license will necessarily be as long as, say, MKX, assuming it's a temporary thing. But yeah, I don't think it'll be 3 months short. That would be absurd, I think. I don't think they would agree to that.
Okay. keeping in mind that it's like an independent game, so much so that like one of the main developers tweets out, "Hey, how much you want us to charge for this?"
Yeah.
It's like,
no, I get where you're coming from, but yeah, I feel like 3 months would be absurdly short.
well, because like for a market license to sell Godzilla merch, it's like $1,000 for one day. I don't know, like you have to license the characters and then you have to like license like the ability to sell those characters. I don't see Gigabash being able to do it for a very long time. I just don't see that.
Perhaps not, but it really depends on the terms of contract. I mean, Godzilla's video game rights could be a little bit different to other merch rights, as well as that, like perhaps Toho's changed their prices too. You know, you never really know unless you're actually involved in the deals, I suppose.
This is true. This is very true. I'm, like I said, I have a very nihilistic outlook on it. I recognize that I don't have the popular opinion or the majority opinion in this case. Video games are just not my thing, you know?
I mean, fair enough. For me, as someone who sort of... I don't really play video games much anymore, but like I still try to every now and again, when I have time and the motivation. For someone like me, I think it's not a new like fully licensed, full on like console Godzilla game, but like it's honestly the best we're gonna get for like a while. I think. I don't think we'll get anything better.
And that's the big thing is like Toho is not going to do a console game. Like, I don't know what it's going to take for them to finally like.
I wouldn't say
agree.
It's impossible for us to get a new console game, but realistically, I think it would be Japan exclusive.
I agree. I mean, when they did the mobile game launch, like 3 of the 5 they've done have been like canned.
No, there's still about 3 left. Yeah,
but like 2 of them like aren't even updated.
Yeah,
ever.
But like, yeah. Yeah, okay, that's true. And
I mean,
Kaiju Collection or whatever it was called lasted a few years, I think.
Battle Line is the only one that is still kicking.
Yeah, that one's like actually got some steam in it, really.
And I don't even think I can get it from my phone. I don't think it actually is.
I play it. It's fun. It's a fun little distraction.
Oh my god, I can get it. I'm definitely going to. But yeah, it's just, I don't know. To me, the thing about Godzilla games is it just doesn't work. And
is it? I don't know. There's just, for me, it's just not enough games really play to like Godzilla's strengths, for the video game format. And I will say it's hard to just directly adapt Godzilla into a video game and for it to be successful, as the PS4 game, I think, demonstrated. You can't just make a one-to-one Godzilla simulator and call it a day,
Yeah, there has to be this equal balance between Godzilla simulator and fight game, I think, for the proper Godzilla game. And that's really difficult.
Oh, definitely. I genuinely think the closest we've gotten to great Godzilla games are the iconic in the fandom Atari trilogy, as well as Godzilla Domination for the Game Boy Advanced. I think those are legitimately good games. Godzilla games. I think there's a couple like other good Godzilla games. I would like to see a Super Robot Wars style Godzilla game. That is my sort of dream one.
What is Super Robot Wars?
So basically, it's like a turn-based strategy game that's like a mecha crossover franchise. Godzilla actually is in one of the Super Robot Wars games alongside Garo, Sentai, Gunhead, Metal Heroes, and like a bunch of other characters. But like Godzilla's not in any of like the main series games on like PC or consoles. Super Robot Wars is turn-based strategy. There's a Godzilla game that's kind of similar to it that I actually really enjoy. I want to say it's called it's something along the lines of Great Monster Mash. It's got like a chibi style sort of look to it, and I think that game is legitimately pretty fun, and it's honestly like top 10 Godzilla games at the very least, you know.
So I won't play Gigabash when it comes out. Well, it's already out, but when the DLC comes out, I'm not going to play it. But I entirely support the team behind this.
Yeah.
And I hope it does well. I hope it does, because that could lead to them, Republic Games, right? It's Republic Games that created Gigabash.
I think it's Passion Republic, but yeah.
Passion Republic. Okay. It could lead to them doing their own Godzilla game. And I think I brought that up.
Or even like another or other like licensed games, like maybe they'll get an official Ultraman game or something. I think that's in the realm of possibilities, honestly.
Very, very much so. And, you know, I think with the next topic that I'm going to segue in, it's obvious Toho is willing to work with fans, because
this is true.
We also got the sequel to G versus G, which is now an official product, official work of the franchise.
Officially endorsed, you know?
So, for those who don't know, G versus G was a short animated film, Godzilla versus Godzilla, that a company
Godzilla vs. Gigan.
No, the first one. Wasn't it Godzilla versus Godzilla?
No, it's Gigan.
Is it?
Yeah, Gigan's in it. They recreate a shot from the first scene of like the Gigan Rex short recreates a little bit from G vs. G.
Interesting. I just learned something new. So
they played G vs. G like right before Gigan Rex, so that's how I know this.
I see. It was a animated short film made by Gemstone, which is a fan company. They also did a Hedorah live action short film.
Wait, were they the ones who did like the Shin Hedorah thing?
I'm pretty sure.
What was it? I don't remember. I never saw.
No, that was 3Y. That was 3Y. I'm sorry.
I never saw that project. So,
but they did G versus G, and there was a contest for Japanese creators to submit their Godzilla works, and the winners would be endorsed by Toho, and it would go from there. This is also how Godzilla became a reality.
I mean, to be fair, the Godzilla guy did have some official presence before, you know.
This is true,
because like he is the only person to have done an official crossover between Godzilla, Ultraman, Gamera, and Kamen Rider. So
this is true, but at least to my understanding, Godzilla was one of the winners that G versus G was also included in that contest. And that's how they got picked up by Toho to do the Godzilla TV show or web series. And
which also had a fairly big presence at Godzilla Fes this year. Not really on the live stream, but in the in-person event.
I gotcha. Was there like a live...
there were a couple like live performances of like Godzilla. They had the bag and puppet in there, like in person on display.
I saw that. That was really cool.
Yeah, and they had like a bunch of others. Like they had Kamanga, Kamakuris, Varan, which I think that Varan one was brand new too. So yeah, pretty cool. When they had the live shows.
Interesting. So G versus G came out, and then they announced a sequel.
Yeah.
It was supposed to come out last year, I'm pretty sure, but it got delayed to this year. And we got it this year. And essentially, it's Godzilla is attacking a swarm of Gaigans, your typical Gaigan, with a new redesign.
Gaigan Millers, I think they're called. It was something like that. Gaigan Millers, Gaigan Miles, something like that.
And then all of a sudden, a gigant, like the alien queen of the Gaigans, the Gaigan Rex, appears and is like super powerful, and Godzilla and Gaigan Rex fight, and that's that. It's nothing too shocking.
It's just another sort of short battle animation. It's not crazy exciting story-wise in particular.
The only thing is there's back and forth on where these two short films exist.
Well,
because
it is heavily implied at the very beginning that this is a sequel to Godzilla vs. Destroyer.
But here's the thing. Here's how I interpreted that opening. So you've got Megumi Odaka, who's doing the voiceover, talking about there was a great fight and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
The opening shot is the same shot at the very end. So my interpretation,
a homage to Destroyer as well.
It is a homage to Destroyer, but my interpretation is they're pulling one of those things where they're showing the final shot at the beginning with somebody narrating the great battle, and then it's showing what that great battle was. I don't feed into the idea that it is a sequel to Destroyer, personally. I think that is a misinterpretation. Well, I think it was supposed to be like a wink at the camera, like, oh, we got this actress, oh, we're redoing this shot, oh, we're saying there's a great battle. But I think at the end of the day, it's just a homage, and it's all just in that GVG universe.
Officially speaking, obviously, like, this is just a Toho endorsed fan project. This isn't literally our sequel to Godzilla vs. Destroyer. This isn't our like official like junior sort of series. But I do genuinely think that it was the intention that the creator, I forgot the director's name, but I do genuinely believe he wanted it to be, a sequel to Destroyer. I mean, like, Megumi Odaka being the narrator, obviously she played Miki in the Heisei films. It's been a quarter century since you, quote, disappeared, referring to Godzilla. Destroyer released in 1995. It's been a bit over a quarter century, but, whatever, slight discrepancy.
Destroyer did take place in 96.
That's true. And wasn't this supposed to come out in like 2021?
Yeah, so it does line up timeline-wise.
Mm-hmm. And people thought it was fine because it had been peaceful, but then they came line sort of implies that, while the shot we're being shown is obviously at the end, the actual narration is referring to, sort of like talking about the past and now Godzilla in the present,
Mm-hmm.
So I think it was like I think it's pretty cut and dry that it was the intention to be a sequel to Destroyer. Like, I doubt I doubt it's officially going to be recognized as canon, But.
Sure. I mean, they did leave it kind of up to interpretation for a reason.
It's not gonna. They're not gonna directly say it's. What are your thoughts on the short itself overall? Like the battle?
I mean, so once again, not a fan of animation. So, I'm not the end all be all, and I'm going to be on the opposite side of most people's opinions. I think the designs are cool. I'm not sold on the Gigan design.
Yeah, same. I think Gigan Rex is a little better. because at least that's its own sort of original variant.
Mm-hmm. I didn't care for how anime he felt, but I mean, it is technically an anime.
Yeah, no, Gigan Rex is cool. You know, it's kind of it. The short feels very Anno inspired with how Gigan Rex is like portrayed, how it's shot, and also the music choices with like classical Beethoven.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it feels like something you'd see out of like the rebuild of Evangelion films,
Right.
like Eva Unit 13 or something.
I definitely agree with that because while watching it, I was like, Gigan Rex feels kind of angelic.
Yeah. No, it definitely feels something like that. And, you know, the short itself was directed by someone who has worked on Shin Ultraman as well.
Oh, really?
And possibly Shin Godzilla. Yeah, the director, Takuya Uenishi, I'm butchering that last name. After the short premiered, they had a little interview with him where they showed off like concept art and storyboards. And yeah, on his credits there was Shin Ultraman, and I think he may have mentioned that he worked on Shin Godzilla.
As like a VFX.
I could be wrong on that. Yeah, as a VFX artist. I think for Ultraman he was like a character designer, I want to say. I could be slightly wrong on that. I was going off Google Translate for what he actually did. So, you know, up to your discretion on how much of that part you want to believe, but it was Shin Ultraman.
I see. I gotcha. And I'm not a huge fan of Anno, so when that didn't rub me like the best. It was like, okay, cool, I guess. Not a huge fan of that. And it's essentially a fan animation endorsed by Toho, so the animation's not like top tier. It's very light, like it doesn't feel heavy at all.
Yeah, particularly when Godzilla like throws the Gigans around.
Yeah, that scene is that part especially.
Yeah, I'd say the animation, like the actual rendering, also looks. I don't think it looks as good as the first G short.
Mm-hmm.
Mainly with the shots that they recreate from that first one at the very beginning, like Gigan slashing the jet planes. You know,
Mm-hmm.
that just looks less detailed. So it was a little bit jarring, like coming off the first G short, which they played like maybe 5 minutes before they premiered this one.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know.
Yeah, and the whole Ghidorah homage I wasn't a huge fan of.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think that's one of the most like least interesting parts of Godzilla versus King Ghidorah, just because Kawakida's string work is abysmal.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I just was like, okay, I've seen this before. So visually, there's a lot of stuff that I've seen before.
Yeah.
I mean, even the style of animation reminded me of Godzilla versus Evangelion 3D or whatever that was called.
What, the Pachinko one or
It was the amusement park.
Universal?
Yeah,
the Universal Studios, right? Yeah. I mean, that goes back to my point of this feels very Anno inspired.
Mm-hmm. I was going to bring that
missing
up.
all the crazy camera angles.
Yeah, and the text on screen.
That too.
Yeah, the two Annoisms. If he has those, it's Annoized.
Yeah, even if it's directed by Higuchi.
In air quotes, directed.
Yeah, supposedly Anno was basically shadow directing.
Supposedly.
I mean, he's got credits on like almost every part of Shin Ultraman, so.
Yeah. Yeah. That's like saying, oh yeah, Rex hosts the podcast. I mean, well, I guess if you were Anno in this case, you do because you edit and you record and you research. The only things you don't do are post and make the artwork. Maybe Rex is secretly the shadow owner of Kaiju Conversation.
You'll never know.
You'll never know. But I mean, overall, it was a short film. It was all
It's
right.
cool. I think some of the music choices could have been a little better. Like, particularly at the end when Requiem from Godzilla Fes Destroyer.
Yes, that was horrible.
Very out of place, and like everyone I've talked to agrees that just does not fit at all. And
and the whole burning Godzilla knockoff.
Yeah, the white Godzilla power up that just happens with like no build up.
Yeah, it comes out of nowhere.
It's a short film, but like he just does it.
It's almost as unnecessary as Fire Godzilla from Godzilla King of the Monsters.
Yeah, but at least that sort of has some build up to it.
Yeah, it has
some impact. That too.
And as soon as I said that, everybody closed out the episode. Goodbye, everybody. Yeah,
you
sorry.
guys missed out on a discussion on the other short. Oh well.
Yeah, actually, I mean, I don't really have much more I could say about this one besides, it felt rushed, and honestly, I would say that both of the short films in this felt a lot more rushed than the ones prior. This could segue into the next one, unless you wanted to go off of that.
I don't know. Probably the only thing I have really to say is I don't know. It's a small team that worked on this. It is a fan project. Like I don't think we should be going in expecting like this to be the other film we're going to talk about after the short films. I imagine. Yeah, the big announcement that happened.
Yeah, Shin Gamera.
Oh, we wish.
According to Higuchi, Shin Gamera already happened.
Exists. Yeah, with the Heisei series.
Yeah. But if you want to, and I brought up that I felt like it was rushed, and that is both of the short films compared to the last one, which kind of sets the mood I have for Godzilla Fes 3 Gigan's Attack. Isn't that the title of...
Yeah, Godzilla Fes 3 Gigan Attacks, Invasion, whatever, Fes 3 Godzilla, whatever way you want to put the words around.
Yeah. So before we get into the negativity I want to say it's awesome that they were able to build the new Gigan suit, even though they did a Kickstarter for it. Kind of stupid.
Yeah, that I'm a bit iffy on. Like, yeah.
Like, Toho, you just made a ton of money off of this.
Yeah.
You literally just got a ton of money to do this. You don't need money for it.
It's literally Toho,
Yeah, it's the largest film company in Japan.
Yeah. Owns pretty much most, if not all, theaters in Japan,
I think it's 95%.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Plus working with Universal and Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
And like every other company in in Japan, Sony Pictures. Yeah, Toho could afford that. Mm-hmm. But it did get Shinichi Wakasa.
And his company, Monsters Inc.
Yes, I was so happy to see his company credited in the credits, because that brought me back to the Millennium Era, which is a lot of...
not only that, we get another Wakasa suit making another return, his Final Wars design.
This is true. So I thought it was cool that we got Suit Nation. I will always welcome Suit Nation back.
Oh, definitely. This was the one that I and many other people were excited for with this event. This is what everyone was staying up for. Which is why they put it at the tail end of it, of course.
Yeah, I didn't even realize, because I had stayed up all night. I was working. And I realized, I can go watch this. So I hopped on the stream. It was about over, but I just rewound it like 20 minutes and I found it, so I watched it.
Yeah.
but I was underwhelmed by it.
Yeah, I enjoyed it, but it didn't quite like. I think it's a better short than the Hedera one, but it didn't quite wow me as much. You know,
I like the Hedera short more.
I don't know. I think this one's a bit better overall. Like, I think it's made better. There's no like Toho building, like the actual Toho building in the background of this one. It's a bigger set. That I'd say the effects overall are better. The suits, the Gigan suit, I have issues with it, which I'll probably discuss a little later. Yeah, it's chubby.
He has fat rolls.
Yeah. The legs, the thighs specifically are too big.
His neck is thick.
The neck is fat, and the
his
the
broad
arms
shoulders
are too. The shoulders, I don't have an issue with the shoulders too much. I think the belly is too wide. But like the arms themselves, like before it gets to the sides, I think those are too thin.
Mm-hmm.
Like these are all nitpicks in the grand scheme of things.
Except for the neck. The neck is not a nitpick because it's obvious. When they showed that first still, I was like, how many sugar sweet cakes has Gigan been eating? Oh my god, he's got like a triple chin. The man has no neck. It's all chin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like it's definitely it's not the original suit, you know.
Or the 73 suit.
Yeah. It looks great, but you know, could be a little better.
Mm-hmm. See, I disagree with what you just said about overall it visually looks better. I said
it could look better.
Okay, it could look better. I disagree. I think the Hedera short utilized camera angles and natural lighting a lot better than the not artificial, but the set lighting in Gigan. In Gigan, I had issue, like the close-up shots were cool because of the lighting was properly set so you could see all the details on the suit.
Mm-hmm.
I like that part. But everything else, like there would be establishing shots of stuff that doesn't need establishing shots, or like reveal shots that it's like, why do this isn't...
Oh yeah, no, I'd agree with you. I think the cinematography itself wasn't...
It's a lot more... I love... Is it the same director? I know the director of the Hedera.
It's Kazuhiro Nakagawa.
Okay.
Who directed this.
And he did Hedera too?
Yeah, he did Hedera. He did the first short film. He did Godzilla vs. Eva Universal ride, and
I know he did
Ultraman.
Ultraman Z.
Yeah. Well, he wasn't the main director of Z, but
wasn't he the episode 1 director? Am I wrong?
No, I'm pretty sure that was Kiyotaka Taguchi.
Okay, I know he directed a few episodes in Z.
He definitely worked on a fair bit of Ultraman, you know.
And I thought his camera angles in Hedera were the best.
Mm-hmm.
And
I feel it has a couple moments like that, but also sometimes when it's doing that, like when it sort of like goes like through the office building. Like,
I hated that shot. It was
like, I think the idea is great, but I think the actual execution is pretty poor, particularly with like rule of thirds and all that at the very beginning of that shot.
I agree. When that shot happened, I was like, "Oh, I've always wanted to do a shot like that in a Godzilla movie," but not the way they did it. It felt like they had just went past a half-built miniature building.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
like the idea was there, but the execution just took me out of.
It could have looked a bit better.
It could have. So for me, like that was an issue. They need to retire the Godzilla suit.
Oh, absolutely. That suit is not looking good, particularly in the neck and the arms.
Yeah, it's really puffy.
Yeah, like that's the thing that keeps taking me out of the short, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's that final war suit. Like, not only does it look the way it's shot as well is it. That suit looks small.
It does. It looks really small.
Which is odd because I think I know it's like one of the smaller Godzilla suits made. You know, it was meant to be lean and all that, but like in Final Wars, I think it's shot pretty well. So like,
well, it's not
Godzilla
the one
looks
you.
I know it's not the main suit, but like still, they were fairly similar looking suits.
Mm-hmm.
They were roughly the same size, you know. Like they would have been probably the same exact mold, just like maybe they're just less. Like the main suit was the original one with like the best paint, whereas the other one's like slightly less detailed with the paint and made from the cast. I could be making that up, but you know,
maybe so. It very well could be, and I just thought about this. It could be the fact that I doubt they're filming it at high speed. From the Hedera behind the scenes footage, they're definitely not shooting it at high speed in that one. So it very well could partly just be they're not slowing the footage down to make it feel heavy, which helps give it that sense of largeness. And
yeah, I think it's also the shot composition too.
I agree. I was about to bring that up. I think it's also just how they film and show the kaiju.
Mm-hmm. I mean, there's definitely a couple shots where they're shooting it at high speed, like and slowing it down, like when the bridge gets destroyed. I'd say,
Yeah.
But I think it's like Ultraman, where it's sort of like, or Modern Ultraman, where it's sort of inconsistent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I think Gigan, I'd say, looks big enough, but it's Godzilla that just looks really small, I'd say. And that was kind of an issue I had in the Hedera short as well. But I think even though the suit, they've improved the jaw a bit since the Hedera one, it's the neck and the arms that are bugging me.
Yeah, and like specifically right in like the mouth area.
Mm-hmm. Oh, there's like right between where the neck and like the chest is, the folds in that bug me a lot as well. They look really off.
The suit needs retired. Maybe
yeah, I want them to make like a 60s, 70s Godzilla suit. Just
yeah, and that I think is also one of the issues. Was you had the Final Wars Godzilla fighting the Showa Gigan.
Yeah, and the thing is, the suit actors are portraying them like the Showa counterparts as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think the suit actors are doing a great job, particularly Gigan.
No, Gigan felt like Gigan.
Yeah, the personality is basically perfect.
Mm-hmm.
But like Godzilla, it's the Final Wars design, but he's acting sort of like a 70s Godzilla, really.
Yeah.
The color grading too, I have issue with. They've put a blue filter over it that looks awful.
Was that I felt like there was something off, but I also thought it could just have been the lighting because
it's a blue filter. It's a blue filter. Like if you saw the trailer, like the teaser trailer they did,
mm-hmm.
it's no shot is anywhere near as blue as it doesn't look in the final project, and it looks better.
Interesting, because I know
like they've got a King of the Monsters type blue filter on this.
Oh boy, I know Hedera definitely had kind of like an orange filter over it.
I didn't really notice it in Hedera, but this one I found it really distracting, like from the opening moments of this.
Yeah. Sorry, my brain just died.
Yeah, it's cool to see one of Gigan's unused abilities from
yes,
Gigan being utilized with the laser beam on the forehead.
And then I liked how they broke it, like how the Flash was in Godzilla vs. Gigan.
Yeah.
that was a cool deep cut.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I appreciate the lighting on the close-ups. I thought the set looked really good.
Mm-hmm. There's some neat references to like the Godzilla Tower of some of the buildings as well.
But overall, like I just the Hedorah short felt more natural and felt more...
Yeah. It was more exciting overall getting
Yeah.
it too.
Yeah. And the Gigan short did not have the Godzilla versus Gigan ending theme song, whereas Hedorah, I'm pretty sure, had a rendition of I want to say Save the Earth, but it's what is it? Oh my god, Give Back the Sun. Give Back the Sun. I'm pretty sure it had a rendition Hedorah did of that, whereas Gigan did not.
They play like one of the Ifukube themes reused in Gigan at the very beginning, but otherwise it's mostly just like against Mechagodzilla music, and then the end credit scene is just like the Destroyer end credit music.
Yeah.
Which is a little disappointing because I agree they should have played like the Godzilla march from Gigan.
Yes. Maybe get I don't know if the singer is still alive, but maybe get him to re-record it. Or like come out and like sing it live. Like that would have been awesome.
They were playing they weren't playing the Godzilla march, but they were playing like another song from Gigan live at the actual festival when the Gigan suit actually like showed up in person.
That was
awesome. Really awesome.
That's awesome.
It wasn't like a live performance. It was just like they were playing it through the speakers, or at least on the live stream they were. But yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah, but that's really all I got. This actually, we've been bringing up Hedorah a lot. I wanted to bring up, before we get into the big thing, I wanted to bring up, on Godzilla Day, they also had the Fathom Events Toho screening of Godzilla against Mechagodzilla. And I got to go see it. Before the movie, they played the Hedorah short. So I got to see Godzilla versus Hedorah on the big screen. And then they showed a making of featurette directly afterwards, subtitled. And in it, I'm pretty sure it's the director said something along the lines of, we're
not going for realism.
Yes. I love that. When I saw that, I had the biggest grin on my face because it's like, amen. Like, screw realism. We don't need that. It was great. And I remember hearing that, and I just thought, man, I wish I could copy down what he just said because it was perfect. Because I would definitely use that in a lot of arguments. But I got to see that, and then they had a introduction by the guy who runs the Godzilla part of Toho, which it was just simply, thank you for coming to see the movie. We all at Toho are going to continue working to make Godzilla for everybody. Thank you and enjoy the movie.
That's a little disappointing.
Yeah, I was like, oh, that's exactly what I expected from you. And then we got to see the movie. The print was horrible. It was really dark. There were frame rate issues. The subtitles were not the Sony subtitles. There were misspellings. There was timing issues. There was stuff that wasn't even subtitled.
Oh, really?
Something I noticed, this did not have the Janus logo in front of it like I expected. Sony was not a part of this either, even though Sony paid for promotional. There was an image that was like, you can get this movie on Blu-ray and DVD right before the film came on, but the only company that's credited is Toho. So I'm going to get a little bit of a rabbit hole here. Toho now is working with Fathom Events to distribute their films. Toho is now working with an American company to directly distribute their films. They don't need to go through like Funimation, now Crunchyroll. They don't need to go to Sony or Janus. They now have a company that their main area of expertise is distributing films across America and the globe to screens for people to watch. This gives them the prime opportunity for a distributor for an upcoming film. And this is the perfect segue, unless you want to come talk about the Toho print of Against Mechagodzilla.
No, there's not really much to say on that.
Perfect segue into what you and I both knew was coming.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, when I saw it actually happen, I freaked out.
Bro, you should have seen it when it happened live. So it happened at the very, very start of the stream. So the event began. Shinsuke Kasai, who was the host of this, he was the reporter in the Gigan short. He introduced himself, talked about how he played an extra in various Millennium films and was a dub actor for GVK in Japan. And then casually he's just breaking news. And then me and a bunch of the Japanese fans in the comments of the live stream were already Takashi Yamazaki film announcement ? Before. And then he's breaking news. And we're all just freaking out. Is this really happening? Takashi Yamazaki Godzilla film.
I'm trying really hard right now to not fanboy. I'm trying really hard because it's hard. I'm holding that back a lot right now.
Bro, you should have seen it live.
So we have official confirmation. We are getting a new Toho Godzilla movie.
And it releases on November 3rd, 2023.
A year from Godzilla Day, now less than a year. We live in a world where in less than a year we're getting the next Toho Godzilla movie.
And it's from an award-winning director, too.
Yes. Okay. So we need to just dive into this because this is going to probably end up being the bulk of this episode. Okay. So I knew about this for a few months.
Yeah, we both did.
We both did. There was a casting call on the Toho Godzilla app in Japan for extras on a Takashi Yamazaki untitled blockbuster monster movie. That was already okay, what is this? It's set in the 1940s. It's a giant monster movie. Why are they putting it on the Toho Godzilla app? Okay, that was our first thing. Then there were some leaks about people on the set getting little gifts saying Godzilla 0.
Was it little gifts or was it... I thought it was a guy posted on Twitter that he saw one of the crew members holding up a sign that said...
It might have been a sign. Yeah. But I know there was a lamp people were getting.
Oh, really? I didn't hear about the lamp.
There was a lamp you got or something, a 1940s lamp. It was something there was little things.
Probably just little pieces of set dressing.
Yeah.
Sort of souvenirs.
Yeah. And the title was Godzilla 0.
Yeah.
While at G-Fest, I got to sit in on a really cool conversation. And one of my friends was like, okay, I just need to know what's up with Godzilla 0. What is this? And we were told it's a Toho Godzilla movie directed by Takashi Yamazaki. It's going to be announced on Godzilla Day, coming out next year. Now, in the same place, I was also told IDW is working to do another crossover with Godzilla, and that would be announced really soon. That never happened. A lot of stuff, though, they said was true, but this was something they've never used Godzilla Day for something valuable, because the last two Godzilla Days, like we said at the beginning of this, were all about merchandise.
Yeah, and then they just casually dropped this at the very beginning.
Yeah. So they did this, and they had a teaser image, and it's just a G written in
Yeah, I mean, they didn't show the teaser image during. Oh no, they did. Never mind.
It's written in a cool font. I love it. and it's designed to kind of look like Godzilla.
Yeah.
There's not a whole lot you get from this, but it's obvious what it is supposed to be. So where do you want to start with? That's the background that I have, and then I'm pretty sure I'm the one who told you about it.
Yeah, you were the person who told me about it when the casting call first showed up.
And then I'm pretty sure I told you
making posts about it afterwards as well.
That's because I told G-Man.
Yeah, I know.
And he started freaking out, and he was like, "Oh my god!" And then, then I told him the other info, and I told you the info, and then I was right.
Mm-hmm.
Not to brag or anything, but
I mean, let's be honest. What else was it going to be? A Rodan movie?
I mean, it could have just been a new.
It could have been a new film. That's the only other option I could have seen, an original film, but 1940 setting, specifically post-war 1940s. Blockbuster monster film, Toho, and on the Godzilla app. Everything to connect there.
Yeah. But here, okay, do you just want to start with, there's not a lot known.
Yeah, really, the only confirmed information is what we've already established with Takashi Yamazaki is directing, his VFX company and his other company, I think, Robot, producing this alongside Toho,
Here's what I got Takashi Yamazaki's doing. He's the director. He's one of the producers. He did the story and screenplay as well. And then his Shirogumi is working on the VFX.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's his company. So this is literally his baby.
Oh, yeah.
Anno was just director and writer.
I mean, he was pretty heavily involved as a director, though, to be fair.
Sure.
He was very, he'd go to the VFX, he showed up to, the VFX studios, every other day, pretty much, on Shin Godzilla, and was working very closely with them,
But the difference here is Yamazaki has been trying to do this for
years. A decade, pretty much.
Over a decade. So I think we should explain who he is and why we have been blessed with the best timeline. So, Takashi Yamazaki is a Japanese filmmaker. Duh. Yes, we get it.
Whoa.
He is directing this, writing it, doing the screenplay, and he's one of the producers. Takashi Yamazaki he directed the film Returner, which is this Matrix E.T. kind of blend film from the early 2000s.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty good. It's a pretty good sci-fi movie. He did a live-action adaptation of Space Battleship Yamato in 2010 for Toho and Tokyo Broadcasting. It's pretty good. I mean, it's Star Trek. It's essentially Star Trek. But it's pretty good. I haven't seen the anime, but I've heard nothing but good stuff about it. Both the anime and the film.
Mm-hmm. It's a well-received live-action film.
It is. He did the live-action adaptation of Parasite, both films.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard pretty good stuff about those. He was the screenplay. He did the screenplay for the film K-20 Fiend of 20 Faces, which had Godzilla actor Jun Kitamura as one of the main characters. That was an adaptation of a manga as well, and it was directed by his wife. So he has plenty of history adapting stuff. He recently did a movie called Ghost Book, which was an adaptation of a children's book, which Ghost Book also had some promotional material that crossed over with Godzilla. Mm-hmm. So there was another.
Yeah, I remember that.
But what he's best known for is his trilogy of films called Always Sunset on 3rd Street. The first two won Academy Awards for Best Picture in Japan. So he is a Academy Award-winning filmmaker. Now, why we bring these two films up is the second one was our first taste of what we have coming. At the beginning of the film, I'm pretty sure it's the beginning,
I believe
there is a scene where your main character is driving and it's chaos. And then you see a bright flash of light, like there's debris flying at the car, and a certain theme is playing. And then you see a blue beam cross over the sky. And the scene continues on, and then we see what it is. It's Godzilla. In his most famous cameo in any film. People were trying to market it as a new Godzilla movie back in like 2012. It was like this this unknown Godzilla movie. I remember trying to track down a copy of it for a long time when I was a wee lad until I realized what it was. I'd still love to see it. I've yet to watch it. And then Yamazaki was out. The Godzilla design kind of feels like it's GMK, but it's also different. The Roar was 98. It was all done with CGI. It was the first time Godzilla was fully CG in a movie.
Yeah, and this was coming off. This was in 2007. 3 years since Final Wars had ended the series, essentially, for that time period.
Mm-hmm. And you could argue that Yamazaki was the one that brought Godzilla to what is now his modern.
And you want to know the kicker for when Always Sunset came out?
What?
November 3rd.
Really?
Yes.
Always Sunset 2 or 1?
Yes, number 2.
Huh. So let's fast forward a bit. I believe 2020?
No, 2021, I believe.
2021? We get an announcement for Godzilla the Ride. It's a MonsterVerse. It's a Japanese adaptation of the MonsterVerse characters in a Universal ride that I'm pretty sure was a permanent ride. Like it wasn't.
Yeah, it's still open now, and they're adding like at this Godzilla Fest during the stream. It was announced a few days earlier that there was like going to be like an escape room expansion or something. Mm-hmm. And during the talk about what's called like izakaya, which I think is like a sort of like a conversation where you have drinks as well. Mm-hmm. During that, where they had like actors an actor from Space Godzilla, Kiyotaka Taguchi, an Ultraman director and Ultraman Z's director, and Shogo Tomoyama, mm-hmm. They showed off. They like re-announced that an expansion like escape room thing to this attraction we're talking about now.
So interesting. So Godzilla the Ride was a fully CG'd 4D ride. You would ride it and like your seats would move with the action, stuff like that. It was directed by Takashi Yamazaki. He also was behind the designs for Ghidorah, Rodan, and Godzilla. The Godzilla from Godzilla the Ride shares a ton of resemblance to the Always Sunset Godzilla. He has the same body build.
Yeah. Yeah, really it just feels like a mix of like Heisei and that design.
Yes. Now, when I started getting suspicious was, unlike anything else, they started marketing this design. They marketed Ghidorah and Godzilla as Bandai's. I actually have the Bandai for Godzilla.
To be fair, the Bandai thing is pretty normal. I mean,
right, but then they announced
Evangelion and then the Gigan Rex one.
But then they announced the X Plus. And that's when I was like, this is weird. Mm-hmm. Why are they marketing this? Why would they spend so much money to redesign the MonsterVerse because it's supposed to be a MonsterVerse inspired
ride. Has it ever
ride.
been like officially like obviously the designs like for Ghidorah and particularly Rodan are like taking influence from the MonsterVerse, but is it actually like
I thought it was. I thought it was
intended.
I thought it was like inspired by the Hollywood MonsterVerse. Like I don't remember, but I remember when it first was announced. Like there was something about being.
You see, I thought that was like fan like speculation because because of the actual designs of like the monsters, particularly Ghidorah and Rodan.
Maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
Because we've got like wing walking Ghidorah again, and Rodan literally is like
almost 1-to-1.
Yeah, it's like Wish.com equivalent of Monster Rodan.
Yeah, but I was getting suspicious because they were marketing Godzilla, and then the announcement came, and it was just kind of wait to see what happens. Legendary announced that they're hosting the 70th anniversary Godzilla film, which was weird. Because, this was in the works, and I was confused, and I was like, maybe this will be like a summer.
I mean, the thing is, this, according to like the Godzilla.com website, this is supposed to be the 70th anniversary film. They're just, quote, celebrating a year earlier.
Really?
Yeah, that's exactly what it says on the site.
Interesting. So it's
and that's the American Godzilla site too.
Really? Oh, I didn't even think to look on there.
Yeah, I only looked on there like earlier today.
And they've already updated that it's coming out?
Yeah, it says, so there was an article posted on November 4th, production of the latest Godzilla movie confirmed. Quote, it's only like two sentences long. Quote, for the 70th anniversary of Godzilla's inception, we're celebrating a year early. Directed by Takashi Yamazaki, the latest Godzilla film will be released in Japanese theaters on November 3rd, 2023. That's the article. So, for all intents and purposes, this seems to be the actual 70th anniversary film, which makes sense given what little we do know of the project.
Huh. Interesting.
Because say what you will about GVK and how the sequel's going to be, that does not feel like a 70th anniversary film at all.
Godzilla has never been promoted in it. It doesn't feel like they're promoting Godzilla in it almost at all.
No, it like for all intents and purposes, we knew it only as like until Toho themselves confirmed that Godzilla, yes, will be in the film. For all intents and purposes, it was looking more like a Kong solo film.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because when you read the Godzilla.com, it says Godzilla returns to the big screen in 2024 in the untitled sequel to 2021's Godzilla vs. Kong.
Yeah, the filming in Surfer's Paradise looks like a scene of Godzilla is presumably making landfall in Brazil,
Mm-hmm. To me, in all the other synopses that have been released, it's all about Kong.
Mm-hmm.
And I've heard some stuff about Godzilla's involvement, and it doesn't seem like it's going to be a lot. It just doesn't seem like it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which, to be fair, he was barely even in GVK, to be honest.
Yeah, this is true. So, 70th anniversary film is coming in 2023. It's not linked to anything. Mm-hmm. It's not... I've read theories of, this is a prequel to 54. Toho's not going to touch 54.
Oh, definitely not.
They're not going to touch 54. Like, that would be Toho announcing a remake of Seven Samurai. They're not going to do that.
Yeah, no. Toho can make some stupid decisions, but I don't think they're that stupid. They
honor their history too much. They respect their history too much to do that.
They know 54 is too... well regarded, even in the modern American culture alone.
Right.
It's pretty well regarded nowadays.
They would rather continue to remaster the film and release it than just make a brand new one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's not a prequel to 54. Toho's not going to produce their own prequel to the Monsterverse. I've heard that theory. It's like, no.
Ew. How dare you suggest that? Ew.
Why would Toho do that? There's no reason for Toho to do that.
Mm-hmm. And I kind of doubt Takashi Yamazaki would be interested in, tying his dream project to the Monsterverse,
And the other thing I've heard is it's just a brand new thing. And here is my theory. The film comes out November 3rd, 2023. This is the first time a Godzilla movie besides the original 54 has been released on November 3rd.
Mm-hmm.
Toho's already said they want to create their world of Godzilla. If Toho is already marketing the film as the 70th anniversary, why would they not create something spectacular? Why would they not try to go back to its roots and create what they had before? And 54 was the beginning of Toho's most financially successful period. Well, Seven Samurai was, but Gojira was the immediate follow-up.
I mean, they were the two biggest budget risks that could have sent Toho broke.
Right. And Toho even marketed this film as initially a blockbuster movie.
Yeah.
It's meant to be a big film. It's being directed by a guy who has won Academy Awards for Best Picture. That's the equivalent of Steven Spielberg directing a Godzilla movie, or James Cameron, or Bong Joon-ho.
Mm-hmm. And it was, and they wanted to keep it like somewhat under wraps too, as well, for a fair bit, Like
the fact they filmed the whole movie without an announcement tells you.
Yeah, and like the fact that it went. It didn't go too under the radar in the Japanese fandom, but in the Western fandom, only you and I and a handful of other people who followed closely sort of knew about it,
Right, and we also asked enough questions to get the answers for what was going on.
Yeah.
And if you weren't involved with that, you didn't really get that because the people weren't really talking about it because nothing was official.
And even then, you still had people denying that, no, this probably isn't a Godzilla film. This is just, another project,
Right. I remember there were a few nights you and I would go on Yamazaki's Twitter and he would be posting about this film and there was a lot of blue screen.
I mean, there was only one or two posts he did that, I believe.
Right. But I mean, it still was okay, so you need to blue screen here,
something very big's going to be here.
Yeah. So to me, this is Toho redoing the Showa era as the world of Godzilla.
Mm-hmm.
And I see this as the beginning to what I'm going to say is probably a new era of Godzilla. Because why would you attach such a director who has a good enough portfolio that he doesn't need he could have done done something else, but he is doing this and it's set up to be released on Ishiro Honda's film's 69th birthday.
Yeah.
That's a big honor.
Mm-hmm.
And the way Toho is marketing it is building it up. And I feel like they would have released it in 2024 if
not for GVK sequel.
Yeah.
I'm in agreement with that. I think it would have been 24.
Mm-hmm. But because of the scheduling, they could not do that.
Mm-hmm. Probably a term on their contract, honestly. Mm-hmm. Similar to how they couldn't release live action films outside of 2016 between certain years. I forgot what it was exactly.
Mm-hmm. Well, 2018 King of the Monsters was supposed
was intended to come out. Yeah.
And then it was 2019. So both of those years were out for Toho. And then 2020 was supposed to be GVK. And then it became 2021. So those years specifically, yeah, it just wouldn't work out. So Toho then went to do the anime trilogy and just did that in 2017.
And then Singular Point as well.
In 2020, right?
It started like production in like 2018.
Right.
Some of the concept art dates back to then for like Anguirus and all that.
So I think Toho is releasing it here because they have to. And I think the fact that they're going back to the roots says a lot, because it is taking place in the late 40s, post-Japan occupation, probably during the U.S. occupation of Japan.
Before Japan was even able to establish its own, self-defense force even.
Right. Everything about this is like back to its roots. And I thoroughly believe that Yamazaki is going to create something that is true to Godzilla. A lot of people have been not a lot of people. I read a news report where they were like, there's people questioning Yamazaki as director because a lot of his films end on a very happy note. People don't want that. People are wanting a new 54.
You see, I didn't hear that specifically. What I saw, I didn't see from a news article, but I saw rather like tweets from Japanese fans responding to like some of the posts where they were concerned about Yamazaki's involvement because of two specific films he directed, Stand By Me, Doraemon, and his adaptation of like the Dragon Quest video game series. Those were the two movies that everyone apparently didn't like, and that's why they were concerned about his involvement. And we're like,
but
no.
Those are two out of his like library of like good films.
Yeah, which is why I'm willing to give him a chance, knowing he's a pretty credible director, you could say.
He also has done war films, which I think is another benefit.
This is true.
Because
he's done the Great War of Archimedes.
Yes.
Which some people were actually confusing for being the working title of this film because of like a mistranslation on the website, on the casting call specifically.
And he's also done some dramas. He did The Eternal Zero, which is a Japanese war drama.
His Always Sunset movies are period piece dramas. Because those are set in like the 60s, I believe.
Yamazaki has enough work. Space Battleship Yamato is kind of a war film, but it's set in space. He even did a movie called Friends Mononoke Shima no Naki, which is Friends Naki of Monster Island, which is an animated film he directed that Toho distributed. I don't know exactly what the monsters are, but the fact that, it's Monster Island, it's based off of a Japanese children's novel. He does a lot of adaptations. And if two of his...
Ghost Book has like a sort of dragon monster thing in it as well.
I heard that as well.
It's in the trailer, I believe.
It's I think Yamazaki is perfectly qualified to direct this film. I think Yamazaki can bring a modern. He can't redo 54. 54 would not work in the modern day.
No, absolutely not.
It's too slow for fans. But I believe that Yamazaki can do a true to the source material adaptation that is exciting and understands what it needs to do to create what it is.
Mm-hmm. I still can't wait for the general American reaction of this is boring because it's set in like the 40s or something like that.
Hang on, I'm checking something real quick just to make sure there isn't any other info I got here.
I mean, details have been kept pretty vague. Like
they have.
Like we're calling it Godzilla 0, but like that's not an officially confirmed title yet.
Correct.
That's a rumor at the moment.
Speaking of rumors, there was a supposed plot leak.
Yeah.
Did you read this?
Conveniently happened like just like less than a week after the official announcement, you know. Mm-hmm. Not while it was filming, not like before.
Have you read it?
Yeah, I have.
Okay. So I'm just going to say this here because I don't like it.
Mm.
That is not the plot of the film.
Definitely not. That does not seem real at all.
So to summarize it, Dr. Serizawa's family's dead. Dr. Serizawa hates Godzilla. Dr. Serizawa finds out there are two Godzillas because Godzilla has a friend. One of them looks like a whale, one of them looks like actual Godzilla. Dr. Serizawa kills one of the Godzillas, and the other Godzilla's all alone. And he's destined to die alone, just like most Nope, I can't say that on mic. Just like me. We'll go with that one. So, a huge BS stamp on that one.
Oh, definitely.
I reached out to a few people with the links. I'm like, is this true? And they're like, no, it's not. And I was like, thank God.
Mm.
Because it essentially, it was also going to point out like how awful America is and whatnot. But like, I was like, I don't see them going with this approach.
I feel they could criticize America, but I don't know if
I definitely think they will.
Yeah.
Here's what I think. I think the film will be about how after the war, Japan was crippled as a country. Just everything. The spirit, their military, their economy, everything was crippled.
Yeah.
And during this time, if a kaiju attacked, your country, who's already crippled, is screwed. And so it is going to be about the fact that Godzilla attacks a already crippled and defeated nation, and they have to rise up to the occasion and not let this destroy their country. Because it could single-handedly destroy Japan entirely. Yeah. And I think that is a great stake. I think that stake is great because that's something that has not been explored in a Godzilla film. Because
particularly with, as mentioned before, the self-defense force was not established by them.
Right. This would be America, which is definitely not trying to like protect Japan at this time. They are just trying to. They will have the bare minimum to just make sure Japan doesn't go outside of what they're allowed to do.
Yeah.
So it will be a defenseless, defeated Japan against Godzilla.
Yeah.
Which has never been done before. It wasn't really allowed to be done before.
Yeah.
So this is kind of like what could have been. And I remember, and I think it's in Khaled's commentary for 54, he brings up to boost the nation's spirit, they really couldn't show and make movies about World War II because their team, their military is always on the losing end of that. They couldn't twist it any other way. And here, now they're willing to show that. At least that's my theory of what this is.
And
And I think this could be one of the most politically charged films.
Oh, definitely. Just this time setting alone with that.
It
opens the realms of possibilities to explore a lot of different avenues.
Mm-hmm. And to me, I'm more excited for this than I am Shin Godzilla. When Shin Godzilla was announced, and part of that I think is just simply the fact Anno. It's interesting. Anno did a modern adaptation, and I feel like Yamazaki is going to do a traditional adaptation.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to see two completely different sides of Godzilla, and I hope that this proves that traditional Godzilla
is better.
Because John Carpenter said it best. Modern Godzilla, he was specifically talking about the Hollywood films, but I'm going to talk about Shin as well, and the anime series, doesn't have the heart that the classic era did.
Mm-hmm.
And if any director has the ability to do that, Yamazaki, I think, is the guy to do it.
Mm-hmm. You see, my big concern with that is how is Godzilla himself going to look in the film? Like,
I'm scared about the design.
I'm concerned about the design and the CG. Okay, the CG might not be too bad. Like, honestly, like Shin Ultraman, this is probably going to have better CGI than Shin Ultraman, and I was kind of fine with Shin Ultraman CGI, honestly.
It'll have probably on par with Shin, if not better.
I hope it's better looking than Shin, but the thing with Shin is that its design tried emulating some of the texture of like Suitmation Godzilla.
Mm-hmm.
I'm concerned this one may not do that, and it'll look. I don't want to say it'll look too modern per se, but it'll look. It just won't look quite as real as Shin did in certain shots, you know?
We'll have to see, because I feel like Yamazaki is not going to try to cater to the classics like Anno.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see him doing that.
True. Anno, like, for better or worse, Anno definitely is an otaku at heart and loves, referencing and recreating things as well. Loves the classics. I mean, replaced Shiro Sagisu's recreations of Akira Ifukube tracks with, like, the original recordings of said tracks. Like, pretty last-minute change in Shin Godzilla as well, And it was him and Higuchi who vetoed against giving Shin a more natural texture to his designs that the designers were originally going to do with the monster,
Mm-hmm. If we're also talking about like traditional Godzilla and whatnot, there's one thing that I think we also should talk about, and that is the music. Because one thing Toho Godzilla has not done is create original music for the live action since 2004. And a lot of
there's only been like one live action,
but like even in like the short films and whatnot, they've resulted to a lot of reusing tracks.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Shin at least had original tracks, and they're pretty memorable original tracks as well. Like, who will know?
They're pretty bad.
You are objectively wrong.
I'm not objectively wrong.
You are objectively wrong.
I am not.
You are terribly, terribly wrong. Shiro Sagisu's music is great. I will not stand for this.
But I was talking to a few friends of mine, and we have kind of agreed that there's only one person that could do this score.
Yeah.
Because if you look at all of Takashi Yamazaki's films, he has one guy pretty much doing all of them.
Yeah, and that guy even worked on Godzilla the Ride.
Yes, and Always Sunset on 3rd Street too, which his rendition of the Ifukube theme is really good.
Mm-hmm.
It's very bombastic, which past composers who had tried to encapsulate that kind of lost when doing the Ifukube theme. Of course, Chunky XL did tremendously.
Oh, God.
Sato also has won Academy Awards for Best Scores.
Mm-hmm.
I see this as the perfect chance for Toho to set up a dream team for this. Now, I'd love to see Takashi Miike get a crack at Godzilla. I'd love to see.
I mean, Takashi Miike has worked with Toho for Godzilla-related things. Like there was some sort of TikTok competition that Toho did that Takashi Miike was involved with. That was Godzilla-related.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really know all the details on that.
But, like, it'd be cool to see that. I'd like to see Kaneko get another shot at it without studio meddling. I'd like to see Ryuei Kitamura, now that he has, like, mastered his craft, like, try to redo and, like, do another Godzilla movie.
Mm-hmm. He went back to one of his other film series recently. Like, Sky High? I'm pretty sure it was Sky High, where his newest movie that's, like, he's still promoting on, like, his Instagram and stuff is like a spin-off of Sky High, I'm pretty sure.
Is it an American film or is it
it's Japanese. It's Japanese. Okay. Have you seen... Do you follow any of, like, his social media?
I don't.
Okay, so he's been posting, like, a film. It's like a poster of, like, these 3 girls, and I looked up the film's title, and apparently it's based off, like, a manga that was a spin-off to Sky High, which itself was already based off a manga, I believe.
So it's a adaptation of a sequel of an adaptation of a manga.
To my understanding, something like that, yeah.
Is it the 3 sisters of
Tenmatsu? Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I feel like I've heard of this before.
Yeah. I don't know. He's been promoting it a lot. It came out like very recently.
Interesting.
Well, this movie at least.
I'm also while we're kind of talking about like what we hope, I really hope this film has like a nice set cast. Mm-hmm. Like I can't wait for Godzilla Zero's cast to be announced because the possibilities are endless. Mm-hmm. Like who are they going to bring back? Is Jun Kinemura going to be able to...
I was going to suggest Jun Kinemura.
Can he appear, play like the Prime Minister?
Can we bring him into his like 3rd Godzilla film?
Is it 3rd?
Yeah, because he was in Final Wars in Shin.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, everyone was in Shin, but,
Kumi Mizuno? Maybe Kenji Sahara? Like...
Bro, come on, one more Kenji Sahara appearance at least.
One more Kenji Sahara Godzilla movie.
One last.
There's just I don't want fan service. I want Yamazaki to do.
I want him to do his own thing.
Yes, but I hope he can also put in the obvious love he has for this franchise, because you do not work on a cameo in a film from 2007 and keep pushing and pushing to get to a point where you make a ride based off of the character you love and then push again and get this involved in the film because his company is working on the VFX, he's writing the film, he did the screenplay, he's producing it, he's directing it. Mm-hmm. This is like his literal child.
Yeah.
this will be... I can't wait to find out how long he's been working on this film, because I assure you, when it comes out, we're going to find out he's been like, since Shin Godzilla, he's been trying to do this. I guarantee it.
I mean, honestly, like, he's probably, like, chances are he's probably had, like, ideas for this film for, like, decades on end, honestly.
Mm-hmm. And now he can do what no other director has done for 20 years. And that's bring Godzilla back to what he was. And I hope that this isn't like a Great Yokai War where, like, the American fan base is excited because it's Takashi Miike and it's Great Yokai War and Daimajin's in it and it bombs. I want this to be...
I hope this is successful.
If this is successful, then that proves Godzilla is king.
Mm-hmm.
Because kaiju films in the last few years have not performed well in Japan.
No.
What to Do with the Dead Kaiju, Great Yokai War, Two Guardians, Godzilla vs. Kong, Godzilla King of the Monsters, the anime trilogy, Attack on Titan, those two films. Things aren't performing that good. Especially in recent times. Especially What to Do with the Dead Kaiju and Great Yokai War Guardians.
Mm-hmm. Oh, What to Do with the Dead Kaiju absolutely bombed. Although, to be fair, that had pretty mediocre to poor reception as well, to be fair.
Mm-hmm.
Because it wasn't very good. It was, not the best.
But Yamazaki, and this is my concern, Yamazaki needs to be careful and treat this film with the most care he can, because this needs to be the best it can be. Because if it's good enough, this could birth a new generation of Godzilla. I feel like it's being set up for that.
Mm-hmm.
And he has everything he needs to create something magical.
Yeah.
And this is the Godzilla film I've been wanting. I've been wanting something that takes it back. And I feel like this is the one to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I love the promo image. It looks... just the look of it. It's just a G.
Mm-hmm.
But the style
it's
of the
so
G...
simple, yet so effective.
I see this G, and I think this is going to bring Godzilla back to what he is. The style of it reminds me of... it's on the Criterion 7 Samurai. It reminds me of traditional Japanese.
Mm-hmm.
And I see in this image Godzilla a little bit. And I know that's on purpose. And I'm ready for this to come out. And I'm ready to see whatever it is. And I hope to God that Toho's already looking into that international distribution, whether it's through Crunchyroll or Warner Brothers or Netflix or Fathom Events or Janus Films. This film needs distribution. And I think this will be the first time in a long time we've had a Godzilla film that is properly talked about in the West, because I don't remember Shin Godzilla until Funimation picked it up. I don't remember Shin Godzilla getting that much promotion outside.
There were articles that a new Japanese Godzilla film was in the works when Shin was announced.
Now they are doing their own English website for Godzilla that will be promoting this.
Yeah.
So now it's like you have clearly this idea and this motivation to push it to an international audience.
Mm-hmm.
Do not.
They've really upped the push for Godzilla as an international brand in the last 2-3 years or so.
And the fact that it took less than a minute for the announcement to go from Japanese to English.
Yeah.
Less than a minute, because every Godzilla-related account was posting about it.
Mm-hmm.
And it spread.
Mm-hmm.
It
spread
quickly. That Variety and Deadline discussing film on Twitter, CBR, it went...
I mean, clearly they'd sent a press release out already for Godzilla Day, at least to Variety. Because, like, they had an announcement of, like, Godzilla Island in that article where they talked about the Yamazaki film. Godzilla Island was also mentioned about it coming to the American YouTube channel for Godzilla.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. Subtitle?
Yeah. Apparently.
I didn't know that.
Only Variety was the one to talk about that. I don't know if that was mentioned on the Fest stream. I don't remember it ever being mentioned unless I missed. Maybe I missed it, but they certainly never showed an image of Godzilla Island that I can recall.
I didn't know that.
That seems like it was an exclusive announcement for Variety.
Huh.
Yeah. Apparently, it's set to air on the YouTube channel, like, I think in sometime later this month.
Really?
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't have much more here to say. I'm excited.
Mm-hmm. We all are.
I have complete and total faith in Yamazaki's ability to kick butt.
I think even for my concerns over how Godzilla himself is going to look in the film, I have faith in the actual writing and drama of the film, I think.
And that is one thing I will say. For once, I feel like Yamazaki will be able to do a proper drama and kaiju movie together. Because he's good with drama. And he's good with action.
Yeah.
I feel like he can do a good adaptation.
Mm-hmm. Oh, definitely. And the post-war setting, clearly there is a vision here. There is a vision here. And I'm very interested in seeing where he goes with that vision.
Now, I guess there's one last thing I could bring up.
Mm-hmm.
The future of Godzilla is now sitting in a very good place because we have the hopes of Singular Point Season 2.
Mm-hmm.
We have Godzilla,
which wasn't mentioned during the stream, though. So,
and I'm not surprised. I'm sure that's going to take a while to make. I'm sure they'll announce it next year.
Hopefully.
I personally believe that this is going to lead to one of two things. One, the world of Godzilla, which is what I want.
Mm-hmm. Or assuming this is successful.
Yes. Two, Toho wants to continue the deal with Legendary, and we have this on-again, off-again Godzilla release slate where we have one Japanese film, then an American film, then a Japanese film, back and forth, giving Toho plenty of time to produce quality Godzilla films.
Yeah.
Because keep in mind, this is the first time we've ever had a Godzilla film back-to-back that's live action since 2003 to 2004.
Mm-hmm.
And if it lasts longer than 5 years, it will officially be the millennium. Or 6 years, because 98 to 2004.
Mm.
So,
I mean, we've got other projects coming too, like the Monarch TV show, somewhere in between this.
So, the future for Godzilla is bright, and there's a ton of content coming from this. And quite honestly, I feel like Toho is finally in making the right moves.
Mm-hmm.
I think this Godzilla Fest was proof of that because the products they announced was not hot sauce. I mean, there was some of that mood.
That was like a Gigan one.
Like, there was some of that mood with the food. Yeah, I meant to do a rhyme there. But I also see it as Toho's also trying to bring out more.
Mm-hmm.
Now, since then,
there's a reason they've been broadcasting these online and not region locked it.
Mm-hmm.
Because they region locked like SP's premiere, which was live on YouTube. Mind you, that was probably to stop piracy, but still.
The point's still there.
Yeah.
So, from this, really all I have left is stay tuned. Rex and I, thankfully, we both were aware of this, and we have plans for how we're going to go about dealing with this next year on the podcast. Even though I was aware, and I've made it very clear that I was aware, I was still surprised. I was still thrilled. I still fanboyed.
I was surprised how early they announced it into the event. Because, as I said before, it was like first, second thing in the event. Like, hi, I'm Shinsuke Kasai. Anyways, so new Godzilla movie. Here you go. It's going to be better than GVK and Shin Godzilla. Because he threw jabs at Shin and GVK during that.
Good. Neither of them are good enough.
I mean, Shin Godzilla's good, but you just have wrong opinions.
No, you just are too pretentious for your own good.
I'm the pretentious one, okay.
Yes, you are.
Okay, sure.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Let's go with that.
Yeah, we will go with that. Mr. Hideaki Anno is a cinematic genius.
Mm-hmm.
So do you have anything else, Rex?
Not really. Like there isn't really too much that we haven't covered. We covered all the big things, I'd say. Like there were other parts of the events, like we got a new look at like the Rodan 4K, which we're never gonna see in the US or worldwide until like 10 years later or so.
10? I'm thinking 15.
You know, I'm giving a low ball estimate, a real low ball. You know, if we're lucky, if we're very lucky and we go in the ideal timeline.
Yeah, we'll only have to wait 3,650 days, sure.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah, I don't believe that one bit.
And that 4K does look really nice. It
does.
It's a major step up from like the Blu-ray.
It is.
In Japan.
Which it also looks like they didn't digitally take out the wires.
Yes, I was going to say that. The wires are still visible on like Rodan, which is great to see because that was an issue with the Blu-ray transfer. Not only is it this really ugly brown muddy color, the wires are digitally removed, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Which is a good thing with Toho's recent 4Ks is that they haven't been removing those wires. They've kept them mostly untouched, to my knowledge.
Yeah.
Unlike, say, Subaraya, who some of their more recent remasters of Ultraman and 7 have been removing little mistakes like that, you know, and wires, which is disappointing, I'd say.
Yeah, I would agree. I'm not a huge fan of like the fixing of these classic films. I don't think that's necessary.
Yeah, it's not the only film that has this issue. Like Star Wars is pretty infamous for it. Evil Dead has some mistakes that are like fixed, but you know, there's a charm that's like lost, I'd say. I don't know, but yeah. Point is, the 4K looks absolutely amazing in comparison to
It
what
does.
we've gotten.
And now we have
Finally something to compare to the Laserdisc.
True. So we have 54, Rodan, Mothra, King Kong vs. Godzilla, Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster, Mothra, Matango,
Frankenstein vs. Baragon.
Frankenstein vs. Baragon, Mothra vs. Godzilla, right?
Yeah.
Destroy All Monsters.
Hedorah.
Biolante.
And I think that's
the
classic era.
Yeah, and then we have Shin Godzilla,
2014 upscale.
2014 King of the Monsters, GVK. Doesn't Attack on Titan have 4Ks?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
I think those are like, I don't think there's 4Ks, but if they were, they'd be like Shin Godzilla where they're upscales.
Gotcha. And now I guess we're waiting on Raids again. Mysterians, Varen, Three Treasures. Basically everything else. Does War of the Gargantuas have one? I don't remember.
I don't remember. I feel like there's one film that I'm missing. We're missing, like a Toho.
Is it Astro Monster? It's 8 Godzilla movies.
Yes, Astro Monster. Yes,
because it's
Astro Monster.
It's 54 King Kong versus Mothra, Ghidorah, Astro Monster, Destroy All Monsters, Hedorah, and Biolante. Yeah, those are the 8.
Astro Monster. Yep. I have the Astro Monster transfer, and I forgot about that.
And then we've got now Rodan. Mothra was announced last year. Frankenstein versus
Mothra's already aired. So it's Frankenstein and Matango. I feel like a Free Treasures one exists, but I don't think it actually does.
No, it definitely does not.
Mm-hmm. There was another. There was a Subaraya War film that was also restored around the same time as Frankenstein and Matango. It was like 1940s. I don't remember which one.
I think I remember hearing about that one.
Yeah. So I'm probably thinking of that when I'm like saying, oh, there was another Toho movie that was remastered. I'm probably thinking of that one.
I think so. Unless it was like a Kurosawa film, which I don't remember. Okay.
I'm sure there's like 4K remasters of something.
I don't think there is. I don't think there is. I don't think so.
Samurai?
I don't think so. Unless 7.
You'd be sitting on money pits, I swear.
Hang on, because I'm pretty sure the Criterion Blu-ray is. Oh no. Kotaku in 2016. So it was going back. Okay, yeah, it has a 4K. Never mind. It has a 4K.
Because I genuinely would be shocking for them not to do a 4K of 7 Samurai of all films, you know.
But there's also...
I mean, for God's sake, like 54 has like 2 4K
54 has 1. King Kong versus Godzilla has 2.
Are you sure 54 only has 1?
Yes.
I thought it was 2.
But the 7 Samurai 4K hasn't been released outside of theaters in 2016.
Oh, of course.
Toho is sitting on money.
Not even on TV.
It just says theaters.
What? Jesus Christ! I don't understand why 54 hasn't been released on 4K Blu-ray.
Because 4K Blu-rays in Japan don't make money.
I get that, but like the only ones like in Japan at least is Shin, presumably the MonsterVerse movies you can buy in 4K over there.
98 and King Kong versus
98. We forgot about that. And yeah, King Kong versus. God, that is genuinely disappointing that we're like never going to get these on 4K Blu-ray, because these are really good transfers too.
They are. They're beautiful.
I've heard there's issues with like the Mothra and like the Matango one, but like compared to what we have, you know, particularly with like the Godzilla ones, like compared to what we currently have.
Right. I mean, it's cheapo HD transfers from the late 2000s
Yeah,
or fair 2014 HD scans
yeah,
with off color.
yeah.
Yeah.
Particularly when you look at like King Kong vs. Godzilla's Japanese cut on the Criterion set versus the current Japanese 4Ks.
I mean, even the 2014 Blu-ray looks better.
I've heard about that, yeah, too.
But that's also because they weren't splicing different film reels together to get the full picture.
Yeah.
Because that's what they had to do for that Laserdisc transfer, because they didn't have the full film. Thanks to the Champion Matsuri cut, where they used the original film negatives and destroyed the originals. Thankfully, that stopped after 1964.
Yeah.
Thankfully. Well, this has been a bonus episode, so it's been about Godzilla Day, and we've talked about some other stuff. It's not as streamlined as your typical episode, so we've gone down some rabbit holes.
Very long too.
Yeah, so this is more like a babble, a conversation. It's a conversation. We're literally recording ourselves talking about this. We actually held off on talking about this really at all, just so we could talk about it.
Get our raw first time sort of thoughts out.
Right, because we've had some pretty good conversations, but then when we get on mic, to say those, it's like I'm beating a dead horse because I've already told you this and I already know what you think. So we held off so we could get each other's live reactions. So I've talked my mouth off pretty much entirely. Do you have anything?
I don't know. Happy belated birthday, Godzilla.
Yeah.
Did you
68 years.
Did you see on the stream them actually singing "Happy Birthday" to 54?
Did they really?
Yeah, they got the 54 Yuji Sakai suit out. They turned the lights off and sung "Happy Birthday."
Oh, that's cute. I mean, for me, Godzilla Day is probably one of the only holidays I celebrate.
Yeah.
It was fun. I'm happy that Godzilla's lasted 68 years, and we got this announcement for the Yamazaki film because, the last few we haven't had any announcements.
Oh, I'm very happy that, there was a worthwhile announcement at the stream,
Yeah. It's a brilliant... It's great to see that even 68 years after his first film, Godzilla is still alive and well in the hearts of kids, in the hearts of filmmakers, in the hearts of businessmen.
You should have seen on the stream Gigan's fan meeting where everyone got to take photos and fist bump Gigan and Chibi Godzilla and all that. Gigan's first appearance, there was so many people there meeting Gigan that they actually, the Godzilla vs. Gigan Rex short, its premiere was delayed, by 15, 20 minutes.
Just because everybody wanted to be around Gigan?
Yeah.
That's awesome. And what it comes down to, I think, at this point, is it's obvious what's keeping Godzilla alive. It is the fans. It's the people who grew up wanting to, work. Yamazaki is a Godzilla fan. You don't just... another example, another reveal on Godzilla Day, O'Shea Jackson Jr. revealed his animated Monarch television series pitch.
Yeah.
He is going to keep pursuing that as long as he can. He's a huge Godzilla fan. Yamazaki spent probably upwards to 10 years trying to get a Godzilla, maybe even 15. Maybe after
if not longer.
The man's been born since 1964. How many years you think he's been trying to do Godzilla?
Mm-hmm.
He started making films in 2000. Maybe it was his dream before then. I'm excited to see what comes of this. And I'm excited to see next year's Godzilla Day because it will be on the premiere of that film.
Mm-hmm.
And by that point, marketing for Godzilla and Kong, the Battle for Earth will start. We will have more for Godzilla and the Titans. We might have an announcement for Singular Point Season 2.
Fingers crossed.
We might have a sequel announced for Godzilla 0. We'll see what happens, but Godzilla is not dead. Mm-hmm. Godzilla is alive and well, and I can't wait. I'm excited. I can't wait to talk about the film on the podcast because of everything. We have plans for Godzilla next year. As this year winds down, we have plans, and
we have plans for Godzilla this year too. Even
we do. Stay tuned for those. I think this will go live before anything else, but
yeah,
just wait and see. We've got a lot coming on the podcast, the YouTube channel. Godzilla's got a lot coming. Things are just ramping up. So stick around, have fun, sit back, relax,
and hail to the king, baby.
That's all I got. I think now would be a great time to do some plugs and then mosey on out of here. So Rex, why don't you start us off with your links? Where can people find you? Why do people? What are people going to do? What are they going to follow?
Well, you, dear viewer or listener, I should say, are going to go on YouTube and search up Rex Xeno, go on Twitter at Rex_Xenomorph, and on Instagram Rex_Xeno, and follow/subscribe to all of those. Or else I'll delay Godzilla 0 to the 70th film.
The 70th film?
Or 70th anniversary.
So how are we going to go from 36 to...
Well, you see, we're counting short films now.
Oh.
So you're going to have to wait about... How many Godzilla days? Like another 30 or so years.
I feel like I'd be dead by that point.
Well, that's a shame, isn't it? You see, this is why you guys should subscribe and follow, you know?
Yeah, so I can watch this movie.
So we all can.
So we all can. There, yeah. Less selfish. Is there anything else people can do to find your work?
Yeah, search up, if you want to read some articles I've written, search up the Tokusatsu Network on Google and you'll find, Tokus News site if you ever want to keep up to date. I'll probably be writing a bit on this project as more details come to light, so stay tuned for that.
Definitely do that. And as for me, now I'm not going to do anything. You don't have to do anything. But if you would like to support me, you can subscribe to my YouTube channel at ET13 Productions. I don't post anymore, but maybe eventually I'll post the short films that I have locked away. Well, they were locked away, but some people found them. Or you can go on Twitter at ET13 Productions and follow me there. Or on Instagram, and follow me at ET13 Productions. If you want to follow my personal stuff, you can find it. I won't tell you how, but if you know how to look me up, you can find it. I don't hide it. I also write for Kaiju Ramen Media, a magazine and website made for the fans, by the fans. I have written articles in every issue they have published, and I am one of their staff writers, essentially. I'm not officially on the staff, but at this point, I basically am. So definitely check them out. A lot of great stuff going on there. Travis and Michael got a lot of fun stuff. And issue 7 should be out pretty soon. And then issue 8, we're going to try and get out by the end of the year. So definitely check those out. But as for the podcast, I just checked the analytics the other day, and most of our listeners are on iTunes. So that means you guys can leave us an iTunes review. So please don't forget to write that and leave us a 5-star review, and we'll read your review on air. But make sure it's 5 stars, because we were
else
moms.
We will delay the film.
Rex is just determined. Please review us so we can not have the film delayed, and our podcast can go from the 2.5 star it is to higher. Because I get it.
We all want to see Godzilla.
Rex is weird and he's annoying, but we gotta support him. We gotta show him love. So do me a favor.
All right, I'm retiring as co-host.
No. Please, just leave the review. Support us. Make it so we don't have 11 5 stars and 11 1 stars. That is literally the worst ever. I hate that so much. And it'll help us. They don't happen. They don't. It's not normal. We're just here to talk kaiju and tokusatsu and have a good time. So if you think we have opinions outside of that, it doesn't really matter, because we're just going to talk about the kaiju. Whatever the opinion is, it doesn't matter, because we just want to sit here, talk about giant monsters and tokusatsu, because that's all life matters.
It's literally the only thing that matters.
It is. Else. It doesn't matter politics. Politics is irrelevant. Religion, it's all irrelevant. Kaiju and tokusatsu.
What does politics have to do with Godzilla? No one's answered that question to me. Oh wait.
What that?
I didn't pick that phrase.
I was going to ask you if you thought that through. Oh my god. Oh, that was funny. Oh my god. Look, kids, politics is everything about Godzilla.
This is what happens when you record for 3 hours straight. Your brain just starts to melt, okay?
We need a Rex quotes board. What does politics have to do with Godzilla? Nobody's explained it to me. Oh, that's perfect. Oh, that's perfect. Oh, that's great. That's great. So if that doesn't tell you how smart we are, I don't know what will. So go leave us a 5-star review for statements like that. If you don't have an Apple device, which I don't blame you, I don't, you can review us on Spotify. That's a new feature that you could leave us. We don't have any reviews, but it'd be great if you could. Or you can tweet us and follow us on Twitter at KAIJU_CONVERS and add us and tell us how funny you thought Rex was, unironically stating that Godzilla and politics have nothing to do with each other. It's not like Godzilla 0 is probably going to be about the occupation.
Shin Godzilla doesn't exist. 54 is not real. That's not real movies. You can't convince
Godzilla doesn't exist. 54 can't hurt you. Politics aren't real. I mean, to be fair, politics are kind of...
What's a politic?
They're people that are weird. It's a term for weird people.
Honestly, kind of cringe.
If you don't have Twitter, you can follow us on Instagram.
Twitter.
Or like us on
politics.
All of this is politics. Or if you're like me, before podcasting, you don't have social media, no politics, like Godzilla, no politics, you can email us at kaijuconversation@gmail.com, all lowercase, all one word, you know the drill. And we will read your reviews on air. No politics, just reviews.
Shut the fuck.
We also have merchandise on our Teespring store. No politics though. There's no politics there, just like in Godzilla. None. It's just our logo. Maybe eventually we'll have something. T-shirt
Not
idea.
politically related.
T-shirt idea. What is politics in?
No.
Why does it have?
We're not.
What does Godzilla and politics have to do with each other? I'm gonna get that. I'm gonna make that a shirt. I'm gonna wear it to G-Fest. Oh my god. We're not lifting that. You're not lifting that one down.
I mean, you never know. I could delete it.
No.
I could erase it.
I'm
I
gonna
have
save
ultimate control.
No, you don't, because I also have these all saved. I can release that to the internet.
Okay. That's very cool.
If you'd like to chat with us one-on-one or talk with others that share similar interests, not about politics, you can join our Discord server. It's a really awesome community, a lot of awesome and great people there. As I always do, I'll just take a look here. The conversation currently was about...
It's not about politics.
It's not about... No, it's not even related to Oh my god. Politics.
I think your brain is also as fried as mine.
Look, it's 4 a.m. and I
Do
have...
care?
So the current conversation in Kaiju Conversation in the general chat is about Godzilla Zero. It looks like they've talked a lot about what we ended up talking about, so it's a lot of fun.
About the 40s, 50s time.
A lot of speculation. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you can be notified anytime we upload. Nothing about politics. No politics. We do have exclusive updates on there. We do talk about, like I mentioned earlier, there's going to be a video game bonus, little mini-sode, bloopers. If none of what I just said ends up in the final recording, it will be in bloopers and it will be posted. So a lot of fun stuff going on there.
Or will it?
Maybe. So thank you guys so much for listening to our No Politics podcast. We appreciate it.
Hanging over my head for years on end, isn't it?
Yeah. Because life's too short to not talk about no politics.
That's not funny.
You know what is funny?
Shut.
It's the idea of making the unironic statement. What is politics? What does Godzilla and politics have to do with each other?
I've just sat through Sadako 3D and 3D 2. Those movies have destroyed my brain.
I didn't tell you to watch those.
Well, completionist's sake, you know.
Oh. Well, you see, Rex, these things, they happen. No politics, though. Politics don't happen because they don't exist. So this has been fun. And in all serious now, because this is the third time I've said fourth time I've said the farewell. This time it will be serious. And then I'm going to play Godzilla Battle Line and hate it because it's a mobile game and I don't play mobile games. So please, everybody, definitely give us a review if possible. We would genuinely appreciate that. We work hard on this podcast. This
is going to be a nightmare.
Yeah, this episode alone is a nightmare. So if not for me, do it for Rex. Rex works really hard. But yeah, that'll do it for us here. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you, Rex, for hopping in here. Thank you for editing this. It's really appreciated. Definitely give Rex some love. He's done a great job, and we'll be back with some more exciting stuff in the very near future. So thank you guys so much for listening, and as always, please remember, life's too short to not talk big. Bye, guys.
Bye.